Also record this. Yeah. So let me do a quick introduction to what is open learning according to us, and then we will get into discussion. Yeah. So before we get into the actual introduction, let me say that these are all just terms. Some people use homeschooling, unschooling, open learning, free schooling, and so on and so forth. Let's not get lost in the terms. Whichever term you are comfortable, you can use. We just use the term open learning. It seems to be a more open term, it kind of encompasses everything. What we really need to look at is this continuum. On one side is the totally structured and curriculum driven, more like a school and the college kind of thing. And on the other side is where people totally drive their own structure, design their own structure, and design their own journey. And at different points of time, one can be at different, you can say, levels or at different points in this journey. So there is no one thing. It's a constantly evolving journey. We don't have to subscribe to any one thing. We can keep evolving the journey as we go along. The beauty is that we have so many options, and in some ways, that's what this whole meetup is all about, to kind of introduce you and help you become aware of the vastness or the abundance of options that are available to all of us. Um, so our journey started many years back with this question: what is the purpose of education? And we didn't like the whole idea that the world was throwing to us, that it's about careers, jobs, and all that. That didn't look like the purpose, still doesn't look like the purpose. What to us strikes more is that the purpose of education is living, and the purpose of education is to learn and do and live. And so to us, the living, education, learning, all are synonyms, and which is why they continue throughout the life, which is why it does not need to be only about some particular years of our life. And if we think about this as is the definition of or the purpose of education, then we start thinking, hey, why do we want to do something or learn something? And a lot of questions come, a lot of answers come. Somebody wants to say, hey, I want to do it at my own pace. Somebody says, I want to get the child to explore. Somebody says, hey, I don't want pressures. I want freedom for my child, and so on. To us, what summarizes the whole approach is that, hey, the child is the leader of himself or herself. Just like the 1-year-old, 2-year-olds are like totally leaders of their day. They decide when to eat, when to sleep, and so on and so forth. When they want to play, whom they want to play, and so on. I guess all of us are leaders, and once we look at it this way, then it's automatically an open learning journey, which means it's a child-led journey, or some people also call it as self-directed learning. Again, these are just terms, whichever term you like using it. But the core is, now the curriculum is no more the subjects or the contents. The child himself becomes or herself becomes the curriculum. The child decides what the child wants to learn, which is why we don't need to bind a child to anything. The child himself may, as the time evolves, as the child's own journey evolves, from young age to older age to adult to further, we'll keep on deciding, hey, what do I want to do in life, and what do I want to learn, and what do I want to explore? Um, and then we start seeing, hey, the whole canvas, the whole world is like a curriculum for us. Somebody could be learning cooking, somebody could be exploring astronomy, somebody could be exploring singing, somebody could be doing embroidery, and all of them are equally good. Equally good, not just from the point of view of doing or learning, but equally also good as a let's say a way to earn a living also. Why not? Everything is worth living by. Yeah. That also leads to hate. Not just I can learn whatever I want to learn and do whatever I want to do, but I can also learn the way I want to learn. Somebody would like to learn from a video. Somebody would like to learn from a neighbor. Somebody would like to learn from a friend. Somebody may want to learn by a teacher and can find a teacher who I relate to. So if you look at this slide, the whole world becomes like a layered, available, abundant resources, people, and so on, for whatever I want to explore in my life. And it becomes a very rich classroom. The whole world becomes the classroom. Um, we also realize that we don't need to assess anybody. Nobody needs to assess us. We all need to do reflection, and that becomes the real guidepost of how I want to live my day, week, month, whatever, however I want to look at. And I do actively look for feedback from people around me, uh, which is why we say in open learners learn from literally anybody and everybody, because everybody is a source to learn from in terms of, let's say, feedback or learns of doing together or rubbing of skills or strengths or styles and so on. So again, the people canvas opens up, friend canvas open up. The definition of peers become from same age to same interest, or even if it's not same interest, I can learn from anybody. So everybody becomes a peer for me. Finally, another thought comes is that, hey, why do we need to bind ourselves with school, college, degrees? That's one path. There's nothing wrong with that path. But one can choose many other paths. And I'll show a small video of some of Aarohi young adults who would like to explore or rather create their own paths. So let me show you a small video, just a minute long video.
Hey guys, I'm Srishti and I'm 13 years old. I'm really passionate about writing, and today I want to introduce a concept to all of you called the co-learning cohort. A co-learning cohort is a place where we all get together and deep dive into our specific interests and passions. For example, if I like writing in my cohort, me alongside with other like-minded people will explore deeply in writing. Think of it as a school or a college, except that the curriculum is designed by us, for us. That will allow you to explore deeply into your area of passion without any constraints or having boundaries set by other people. This allows you to completely immerse yourself in your area of passion. If you're truly passionate about something, you should join the co-learning cohorts to have the experience of your life.
Co-learning cohorts are a small group of people who learn together because of their shared interest or passion. We work together, pull and push each other, and we learn more about the industry we're interested in, and we grow together. That's it.
Right. So those were Shrishti and Lakshita sharing about the concept of cohort, which basically is a small group which works on a particular passion and convert that into a profession. So that was an example of how one can go ahead and one can go ahead and learn together and still grow into the profession. I also want to quickly mention that open learning is, a lot of people think is about giving freedom, but to us, what it's really about is not about freedom, but it's about giving responsibility, or rather letting each child realize that, hey, they are responsible for their life, their learning, their growth, their whatever, their dreams, their ambitions. We are there all to support as a, let's say, a family or a community. And yeah, it's all about responsibility. It's not so much about freedom. And once they start living out of that responsibility, then they automatically chart their own learning and own life in the way they would like to do. Yeah. So yeah, as a adult or the parent around, we play a lot of different roles in the life of the child, and that's what makes our journey interesting, exciting. As one of you were mentioning, you spend a lot of time just playing with the child, and I think that's the most amazing thing we can do. And in some sense, that's all we continue doing. We continue playing different roles. We may not always play games, but we play many different roles. Yeah. And the best part in open learning is that everything that happens in our life, the good and the bad, the tough and the easy, the challenging and the simple, all becomes part of the whole journey of learning. So problems are most welcome. The journey is not supposed to be easy. The journey is supposed to be tough, because that's what makes us learn, right? In summary, a child's journey in open learning goes from initial early years, from exposure to exploring their own interest as they grow older. Then out of their exploration, they may choose one or few areas to get expertise into, deep dive into that. And finally, they can choose again one or multiple areas of expertise to grow into what we call as the enterprise stage, where they can start earning or convert that into profession. So that's a typical journey of an open learner. Right. So again, very briefly, what is Aarohi? Aarohi is a community of families who are all exploring, doing open learning. And the idea is to kind of be together so that we can support and live and learn together. Yeah. So it goes by the saying that takes a whole village to raise a child. So we all contribute to each other's journey. We connect with each other based on different interests, based on different skills. We also do a lot of stuff together through collaboration. Uh, we also mentor and support each other. So the larger the community, the more the, you can say, connections that happens. People are part of the community from their homes. They can be part of the community at Aarohi campus, but Aarohi campus is only one. We say every home is like a campus. And families are connecting with other families, other open learning families in different forms. And we can also travel together and learn together. So the whole world becomes our campus, you can call it. So Aarohi campus is just one physical space, but otherwise the whole world is our campus, and everybody in the whole world is our resource. And that's the way we look at Aarohi. You're still welcome to experience by visiting Aarohi campus. There's an option of coming and experiencing open learning and unschooling, homeschooling by being at the campus. You can visit the website for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's like a quick introduction. Yeah, I can stop sharing the screen. And Vijay, over to you, and Pranav, to you to start the discussion.
So usually every Saturday meetup, we have a theme. And today's theme is defining success. And uh, we've already interacted with the word success multiple times in our introductions and in the presentation also. And like Ratnesh was sharing, the idea of self-directed learning is not just to define what you're doing and how you're doing it, but also to assess how we have done something. So the process of reflection is very much part of the overall, the cycle of learning that we practice. And that's true about life, right? I mean, every time we are doing something, we are planning something, then we do something, and then we think back and say, hey, how did that go? Did I do it well? Or could I have done it better? And all that. So while we do that process of reflection, we are also emphasizing that we need to identify what is success for me. So we have I think it's a 2-question poll.
Yeah. Shall I launch
yeah.
it?
Yeah, please. Just to trigger some ideas on for the conversation, but also, when we are in our own lives, we realize multiple times that, why do I need to call that as success and not this, right? So we just thought that it would be good to share our own experiences on defining success and how that has helped or not helped maybe, and that has been a learning experience for us. And the whole idea of success and top scoring and all that, questioning that as well, because when we say we define success, we are also saying we are defining failure. And in some sense we are also saying that, like some of you were sharing, and Ratnesh too, that success and failure are basically going to be there. There's going to be pain. Pain is very much part of the learning process and living process. So why would we want to avoid one thing and not embrace it, is also something that we can reflect upon. So here are a few questions, a couple of questions, nothing that we'll grade you on or will assess you for. So feel free to answer. Both are multiple choice questions. What you feel is success, and what is open learning and success, or in open learning, what is success? And the floor is open, so we don't have to wait for the questions to be
Yeah,
answered
but
and all
Vijay,
that.
let's give a minute for people to answer the poll. Otherwise, we get engaged in
Acha,
the
theek hai.
conversation. Yeah.
Hey, but let's keep the poll open for some time,
Yeah.
Ratnesh.
Poll is open, but
Don't
I'm
close it
saying
right away.
just
Because once
I'm
you
not
close it,
closing
you
it.
can't open
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just
That's it.
inviting
So yeah,
everybody
feel
to
free to
respond to the poll. Yeah.
respond to the poll and also, gather your thoughts so that we can have a nice engaging discussion as well. Let's save the Aarohi specific questions for a little later and focus a little more on homeschooling, unschooling, open learning, all these aspects, especially with regard to success and defining success. Yeah, I think we've blabbered enough.
So, Dviji,
Right. Please go ahead.
one question.
Mhm.
I have given the choices, but I was just thinking, can that be a static definition or will that be dynamic?
Good. Maybe we should put another other and where you can type out what are the other definitions that you would like to add in this or
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
why one choice
kind of.
says that it says nothing special since anyway it keeps evolving. So
I
exactly,
did, I
I think
did,
your thought
yeah,
is captured in the last one, in the second question.
exactly. I did choose that. For the first question, I was thinking an option. I wanted something like that. So that's how it triggered in my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, so we don't need to be limited to the poll or the theme. As you have questions about open learning, you can start asking or sharing. And yeah, if you want to talk more about success, okay, you can do that also.
and if you are not able to talk or would prefer to type, that's welcome as well. The chat window is open for conversations too. And language is not a bar. I think between us we can understand some 5 or 6 different languages here. So let not language be a stumbling block either.
So until the poll keeps going on, I have one curious question. When I started, 1 second, I enable my video. Yeah. So I have this curious question in mind. Okay. So we were come up. We have grown, like basically I have grown up with a traditional setup. Like after 3 years, I'll be put in a school. After schooling, we have to go to college and things like that. So the social exposure was all taken care in the school itself. I was brought up in a very orthodox background, so I didn't have much exposure. Now I want to keep everything open to my child, and how to provide that exposure. Being in a city like Chennai, uh, how to create that exposure is a very big question for me. I'm ready to do, but where to start and how to start is what I am evaluating. Like, uh, uh, I don't know if I conveyed my question correctly.
Yeah. The question is understood. The answer is very simple, Aishwarya. When to start? Now. Where to start? Wherever you are. I mean, it really doesn't matter where you are. As in, see, the process of learning, the way we see it, is not something special. It's about how we live life, right? So it's not about doing something special or going to some specific place or following a specific formula, right? It's about being conscious of what we are doing and then engaging with it with an open mind. So, very simple answer, but if others would like to share their thoughts on that, please.
Ruhi, you want to share something? I think you are on mute.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you.
Yes. मुझे ये ट्रेडिशनल स्कूल, ओपन स्कूल, होम स्कूलिंग, स्पेशल स्कूल, इन सब का पर्सनल तजुर्बा है। इन सारे स्कूलों में हमारी जो डॉटर है वो अलग अलग टाइम पे 9 साल में 9 स्कूल बदल चुकी थी वो। तो इन सब का एक फेयरली जितना आइडिया हमें लगता है हम कह सकते हैं उतना आइडिया हमको है। अब जो मेरा इशू ये है कि उसको लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी है। IQ इज वेरी गुड, बहुत सेंसिटिव और बहुत ही एक्टिव बच्चा है वो। तो उसको चूंकि हमें पहले से पता था कि लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी या LD में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, इसलिए हम पहले से अवेयर थे। तो हमने उसके लिए हमेशा स्कूल्स को सेंसिटाइज करना है, उसके लिए टीचर्स को, स्कूलों को सेंसिटाइज करना है, ये सब हम करते चले आ रहे हैं। तो वो कभी नॉर्मल स्कूलों में गई, फिर वहाँ डिफिकल्टी हुई, वो स्पेशल स्कूल में गई, फिर वो वापस उसने ट्राई किया नॉर्मल स्कूल में, क्योंकि नॉर्मल स्कूल का प्रेशर इंडिया में हमारे यहाँ बहुत ज्यादा है। आप जब स्पेशल स्कूल में जाते हैं ना, तो आपको बहुत अच्छे से सोसाइटी एक्सेप्ट करती है ना, वहां पे बच्चा जाके एक्सेप्ट होता है। लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी का राइट है कि वो नॉर्मल स्कूल में पढ़े, लेकिन जो हमारे बच्चों का टेम्परामेंट है और जो हमारे टीचर्स का लेवल है, वो लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी को एक अलग लेवल पे ले जाके रखते हैं। हम ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि स्पेशल मतलब अगर कोई MR है या ऑटिस्टिक है, उनसे हम कुछ बायस करना चाहते हैं या हम उनके लिए कुछ भी सोच रहे हैं, लेकिन डेफिनेटली लर्निंग डिसेबल बच्चे बड़े आराम से नॉर्मल करिकुलम और नॉर्मल स्कूल को फॉलो कर सकते हैं। लेकिन हम लोग के स्कूलों का और हमारे बच्चों का जो अप्रोच और जिस तरह के वो लोग हैं, उसमें वो लोग सिट और सोसाइटी का जो प्रेशर है, उसकी वजह से वो बार बार वो नॉर्मल स्कूलों में जाती है। 1 साल बाद वो फ्रस्ट्रेट होकर फिर से स्पेशल स्कूल में आती है, फिर से हो जाती है। तो आप समझिए क्लास 9 तक वो 9 स्कूल बदल चुकी है। और हम लोग ने सेंट्रल मतलब केंद्रीय विद्यालय से लेके दिल्ली पब्लिक स्कूल, जितना भी आप स्कूल सोच सकते हैं, वो सब ट्राई किया है। अब इशू ये है कि कोविड के बाद उसका 10th था, उसने 9th जो है CBSE से पास किया और वो 80% मार्क्स ले आती है बहुत आराम से। उसको स्पेलिंग्स की प्रॉब्लम होती है, उसको रीडिंग की प्रॉब्लम होती है, उसके लिए अगर कोई हेल्प कर देता है तो शी कैन स्कोर 80% मार्क्स, तो वो इशू नहीं है। प्रॉब्लम है सोसाइटी का, उस प्रेशर का। उसको क्यों बार बार नॉर्मल स्कूल जाने की इच्छा होती है? उसके लिए हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं? हम चाहते हैं कि स्कूल में पढ़ाई जैसी हो, कहीं भी बच्चा पढ़े, लेकिन वो खुश नहीं है क्योंकि वो स्पेशल स्कूल में है। और अगर हम उसको स्पेशल स्कूल में नहीं भेजते हैं, नॉर्मल स्कूल्स में भेजते हैं, तो वहाँ टीचर्स का अप्रोच और बच्चों का अप्रोच इतना है कि उसकी सेल्फ एस्टीम को इतना ज्यादा तोड़ देते हैं कि मुझे फिर से 1 साल लग जाते हैं उसे रिपेयर करने में। तो अब फाइनली जो जहां वो बैठी हुई है, लेट मी थोड़ा सा और बोलेंगे हम, जहां वो है 10th पास कर रही है, उसका 17 तारीख को 10th का लास्ट 2 पेपर बचे हैं, वो पास कर लेगी, बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स आएंगे, हम अभी से आपको बता रहे हैं। अब हम आगे क्या करें? उसको जाना है बड़े बड़े स्कूलों में, प्रेसिडेंसी, MPS, क्योंकि उसने देखा है सोसाइटी में उन बच्चों को बड़े रिस्पेक्टफुली देखा जाता है जो इन स्कूलों में बच्चे होते हैं, क्योंकि वो 70-80% स्कोर करती है, तो वो समझती है वो मेरा राइट है कि मैं भी उस स्कूल में जाऊं। लेकिन जब वो वहां जाती है तो वहां के बच्चों को वो झेल नहीं सकती, क्योंकि बच्चे बड़े इनसेंसिटिव हैं। मेरा बच्चा भी एक ऐसे ही स्कूल में है, छोटा वाला बेटा। उनको मतलब उसने बहुत सारे अवार्ड जीते हैं पेंटिंग के लिए, वो पेंटिंग बना सकती है, उसे अवार्ड मिल सकते हैं, पर उसकी पेंटिंग खूबसूरत नहीं हो सकती क्योंकि उसको डिस्ग्राफिया डिस्कैल्कुलिया है, उसकी फिगर खूबसूरती नहीं है, सफाई नहीं है, पर थॉट्स बहुत ब्यूटीफुल हैं, बहुत सारे अवार्ड मिले हैं उसको। तो मेरा सारा क्वेश्चन ये है, इस वक्त वो दूसरे कमरे में मेरी बात सुन रही है और बहुत गुस्सा है हमसे। वो एक नॉर्मल स्कूल में जाना चाहती है, बट हम जानते हैं कि पिछले 9 बार से जब भी हमने उसको स्कूलों में भेजा है, तब से वो 4 महीने में शट डाउन होकर घर में बैठ जाती है। इसकी वजह से उसका, आप जो कह रहे हैं कि सेल्फ डायरेक्शन होना चाहिए, सक्सेस होना चाहिए, सक्सेस तो मुझे लगता है सर 17-18 साल के बाद आता है। इससे पहले जो लर्निंग का जो जर्नी है, वो कैसे कंफर्टेबल हो, वो कैसे अच्छी बनाई जाए, बच्चे को रिस्पेक्टफुली कैसे पढ़ाया जाए, मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज ये है। अभी वो 16 साल की है, उसकी बर्थडे आ रही है। सेल्फ डायरेक्शन, उससे ज्यादा सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड इंसान और सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन सर आपने किसी बच्चे को देखा नहीं होगा। लेकिन जब वो स्कूलों में जाती है, उसके बगल में MR ऑटिज्म बच्चे होते हैं, क्लास में 7 बच्चे में 5 MR और 2 ऑटिज्म बच्चे बैठे।
Okay, so Ruhi, pause. So you are talking about the child is wanting to go to a big school, right? But have we asked her, or have you thought as to why go to any school at all? Why do we need to go to school? Why not leave the schools aside and just do what she likes doing? Why would
She is
she?
doing, sir. So she is doing the same thing. For last 3 years, she is in a homeschooling.
Yes. So where is
She is
the
not
issue?
enjoying.
Sorry. Yeah. So we have to look at how can we make it, and how can she make it, not we. How can she make it enjoyable for herself, and how can we create an environment around her which will help her to make it enjoyable for herself? Because if her enjoyment is dependent on which place she goes to, then she will be in the hands of the place. But if her enjoyment is based on what she likes doing, and she is able to do it, and she enjoys doing that, then that becomes her enjoyment, her joy of life, which is what we are talking about. So open learning is, or whatever term you want to give, is about doing what you like doing, how you like doing, with whomever you like doing. She may want to do it with other children or adults or whoever. She may want to do it with Italians or Germans or wherever. That does not matter. What matters is what is it that she wants, and how is it that we, with her initiative, or we all can support her. As far as we are concerned, there is nothing like LD, nothing like MR. All of us are LD, all of us are MR. You show me any person and I can show you defects in that person, including me, right? We are all defective pieces, right? There is no perfect piece at all, right? So let's not get into that discussion, and let's leave that discussion and see, with whatever we are, how can we live our life the way we would like to live, do things which we would like to do, because that is what is open learning, is to drive your own life. I hope I'm able to convey in a short thing that is what we are inviting you to look at.
Ratnesh sir.
Yeah, you can just call me Ratnesh. No need to call
Okay.
me a sir or anything.
So the answer that you have given, one piece of that or one sentence of that, I have one question with respect to that particular context. May I please ask that now?
Sure.
Okay. So you mentioned regarding child choosing his interest and child deciding it. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. I understood it. I think I have understood it. So now my question is, first thing is, we should not interfere into sort of their ability to choose, which I can try as a person. But what if the children come to us and ask what they should do, or how, not how, but what they should do, or sort of the questions where they need a direction? In those cases, how to handle those things without being too much influenced by our own perspective?
Okay, so the question that you have asked is like a lifelong question. There is no answer to it, right? It is
Okay.
not like there is a formula, right? It is a relationship. It is a relationship of us with others. In this case, let's say you and your child. And the dynamics will continue to happen, evolve over a period of time. Sometimes you may suggest something, sometimes the child may reject it, sometimes the child may select it, sometimes the child may suggest to you and you may accept it. So can we both become co-passengers, right? Where both are on a journey, both are the open learners, both are together, each suggesting to each other, helping each other, supporting each other. And that becomes the co-creation. Yeah. So very slightly in one of the slides, we just mentioned co-create, co-live, right? So that the word that is common is the co-word. That can we be together and then support it. The idea is not to say to the child, you decide what you want to do, now get lost, I am not going to do anything with you. No. It's just the opposite. It's to say that, come, let's live life together. And that becomes the interesting part. And obviously the tussle will continue, not that you will not overdo it or underdo it, and not that the child will not overdo it. That journey is the beauty of life.
Got it.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah.
Ratnesh, I want to add something to this. So Somehow in your question, Sujay, I have this, I hear this feeling that, our thought should not corrupt the child's interests. Too difficult, man. It's not possible. Everybody's thoughts are corrupting everybody else. I mean, the fact that we are interacting here
Yeah.
means that I'm getting influenced by Sujay and Lakshmi and Vasudha, everyone here, and Ruhi,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So the idea of influence is not the question here. The question is, who is directing the learning, right? Who is deciding what they do? So while Ratnesh can suggest, hey, Dviji, can you do this? It doesn't mean that Dviji will do that. Dviji will do only what Dviji wants to do, right? And the idea here in self-directed learning is to respect that every individual knows something, wants to do something, and will do that thing. Yeah. And we are all curious people. As human beings, we are all curious. We want to know new things. We want to do different things. So I would say, while your son comes and asks you what he should be doing, it's not a bad idea to ask, hey, beta, what should I be doing? You know, I'm this 40-year-old, 30-year-old, whatever year old, and this is what I have done all my life. Now tell me, what should I be doing? Right? So the idea
That's good.
here is
Yeah.
that recognizing that even we, like Aishwarya was sharing earlier, I was very thrilled to hear her introduction. We have to recognize that we have to learn a lot of things even today, right?
Yeah.
And that
Correct.
process of learning is what we are talking about. Whether you are a 40, 50, 80, 90, though we have a thing in Aarohi saying 99 years is the age bar, but even at 99 or 100, there will be things to learn. So what I'm trying to say here is that co-creation and co-learning is not about not influencing, but rather building in each other the confidence to take in as many influences as we practically can, within the limitations that we all live with, right? So just because I want to get more and more influences, I don't go out seeking, okay, what do they do in Japan? What do they do in Italy? Or what do they do in God knows where, right? That's not the idea. The idea is that within a certain limitation that we all live in, we exercise our own discretion to learn what we want to learn.
I think Ruhi wants to share something. Ruhi, did we respond to your, I wouldn't say question, to your situation, just to clarify how open learning looks at each individual? Could you hear our response? And
no, that is what I want to try to say. मैं कुछ नहीं सुन पाई because यहाँ पे कुछ disconnect हो गया.
Oh, okay.
एक question और है, एक question जिसका answer मुझे.
Ruhi ji, please, just 1 minute. रूही जी, आई फील दैट मुझे ये लगता है कि अंग्रेजी ठीक है या हिंदी में ही बात करें?
नहीं, आप बोले कोई भी लैंग्वेज, मुझे दोनों समझ में आती हैं.
अच्छा, ठीक है. So just that there are some folks who may not understand Hindi, so that's why.
No problem.
So see, Ratnesh said some things that I'll let him share that again. My own thoughts on your situation is that what my child wants to do is typically it develops over time in a social setting. It is not just because of outside children and outside influences, but influences everywhere from everywhere, right? Including from within the family. The people who she interacts with the most are the ones that will influence us the most, right? I mean, those we interact with. So in some sense, I would say, the pursuit for a school and other things are natural if the influences are such. Like Ratnesh was saying, why go to a school at all? If she's so smart and she wants to do so many things, she can do all those things without going to a school, right? And this idea of education is equal to schooling is what we are challenging. Learning and education is a lifelong process. It is not just something that is done in school and you get a certificate and then you are done, right? There are so many things that we have learned after we have graduated from school and college. So the idea of, as in I'm trying to say that आपकी बिटिया जो बहुत स्मार्ट है, ये सब कर लेते हैं, तो उनको स्कूल में क्यों सीमित रखना चाहते हैं?
हम नहीं चाहते, वो चाहती है। मेरे लिए क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये आरोही एक स्कूल है या एक्टिविटी सेंटर है, नंबर 1। और सेल्फ डायरेक्शन ये सब मुझे समझ में आता है, लेकिन ये तब होता है जब एक बच्चे का सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस और सेल्फ स्टीम अपनी जगह पे हो। जो आपने कहा मुझे समझ में आता है।
तो ये बताइए रोही जी कि सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस, सेल्फ एस्टीम कैसे बनता है?
हम आपसे ये पूछना चाहते हैं आरोही कैसे बनाता है, हम तो फेल हो गए।
नहीं, आरोही नहीं बनाता है। आरोही मेरा सेल्फ
एनवायरमेंट
एस्टीम नहीं बना सकता है।
नहीं, आप किस तरह का एनवायरमेंट, क्योंकि हम फेल हैं, नहीं तो हम इस तरह से
देखिए,
सेंटर ढूंढ ही नहीं रहे।
मैं कैसे सोचता हूँ उस पे
Wait, wait,
सबसे
wait,
ज्यादा
wait. Sorry,
मेरा
sorry. Pause. So,
Sorry.
so Ruhi, without getting into these terms and getting into how do we develop that, because that's not important according to us. What is really important is for her to see that there is a world beyond schools. Possibly all her life, she has only seen schools. So she feels that there is only one world, schools. And
Yeah.
if you think that there is only one world, you would like to go to the best school. It's like if I go to an ice cream parlor, I will want to eat the best ice cream, right? In the same way, so let her understand and explore that there is something, a huge world outside the school. A school is the smallest of the geographical space that she can be. The whole world exists for her, literally. And she's the center of that universe, and she can explore, do, enjoy, live. And possibly for her to do that, one of the ways, one we have already mentioned, is for you and your family, and for her to come and maybe visit Aarohi and stay with us and see, hey, how is it even possible? Because that is maybe not something she's able to comprehend, because she has not been to any such place. She's only been to X school and Y school and Z school. Now, Aarohi is neither a school, Aarohi is nor a learning center, Aarohi is none of those. Aarohi is a community of families who say we don't want to go to any school, any college, nothing. We want to do things the way we want to do. In that, if we want to go to school, we will go to school. If we want to go to college, we will go to college. But college is just one option. Just like idli eating is only one option. Everybody does not have to eat idlis. There are millions of other dishes that one can eat. Now, if we just tell you or her, she may not be able to, or you may not be able to fully comprehend that how is it possible. But that is exactly is the invitation. Meaning we can obviously, we'll talk about it more here. How does that work? But more importantly, you can also, apart from talking here and listening here, you can also see how the open learning can work by being part of the community, by coming for some days and staying with us and getting a flavor. So there is something called as a guest week. You can look up that on the website and see which week suits you. And as a family, come and stay here for a week. That will give you an experience more. Then we don't have to talk. Then she can see for herself and you can see for yourself. Yes. Because more than she seeing for herself, you have to see this so that she is able to see it. It's important. And you may think, she only has to see it, but that's not true. The whole family has to understand that these are the options available. And I'm not talking about one option. I'm talking about millions of options other than school. Yeah. Yeah. So we can have questions, not just from you. Yeah. We can have questions, not just from you, from everybody, to more understand what is open learning. Because I think that is the real journey, to understand what are these options for anything. How do we do that? Like how they were saying that, how can I guide? So there is no one answer. There are millions of ways in which you can play your role. In the same way, we can have more questions and we can see how in million different ways we can be with the child and live our life together. Yeah. So over to everybody for more questions. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Lakshmi.
Hello?
You need not call us sirs or madams. We are just very simple human beings.
Sir, okay, sir.
Call us. Yeah. You go ahead. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, this slide which you showed on exposure and exploration. how it happens at ROE, or if not, if you could just give me an insight. How, because we know only of this extracurricular activities or something like that, but how really to give that exposure to the exploration? Could you please guide me?
Pranav, you want to give some
Yeah.
stories from?
I was about to say Pranav ko bolne do Ratnesh.
So I'm inviting Pranav only. Pranav or Preeti to share some stories from their
Actually,
life.
I could not gather the question properly. Sorry, Lakshmi.
How
could you just,
exposure and exploration happens, in short.
Okay. I see it happens very naturally. So I basically, as a family, what we do as in, again, we don't live for our child. Basically, well, that's not the way it should be sounding. But yeah, the point is, you lead your own life. In your life, you do stuff that you love. You do things that you love, and if the child is interested in that particular facet of life, the child will join in. And similarly, child keeps exploring, by say maybe meeting the friends. There could be some or family, and there is this natural interaction or engagement happens. At times, somebody influences somebody, so that also leads to some sort of an exploration. And traveling is one way of going around and looking at world, and there you cite many different things. So this exploration, I think, happens very organically and naturally, and without getting into like I need to expose myself to this particular thing. Like मुझे उसको swimming के लिए I have to expose, or basketball के लिए I have to expose, or a painting के लिए I have to expose. So the child has to pick up something. If the child sees it from in its surrounding, and if something really appeals, that would happen naturally. So just that we have to be in that vibrant surrounding. That's it. Yeah, that
Okay,
is what
fine,
I
got
feel.
it. Yeah,
Pranav, would you
Pranav, I
also
got it.
give some few examples of how Mishti got into something, or you got into something, or Preeti got into something, which happened very organically, which wasn't really, there was no design to it, and maybe some places there
Yeah,
was a
so
design to it also.
yeah. So now, like, couple of instances which I can recollect right now is one is when Mr. Preeti. One is when this like Sujay was also asking, how if the child comes to us, seeking our advice on, what do I do rather. So I remember in a specific instance when I said with my child, and we were reading this book called Sapien, and my daughter was like, no, I don't want to kind of read book with you. I want to do something with you. So she was very hell bent about doing something, not reading or something. So at that time, she then I just made a proposal. Yesterday I saw a video about this shadow art, and would you be interested in doing that? And she said, yeah, okay, Papa, let's see if we can do that. And we got into that. And in say hour or two, she was working with me. We were making video of shadow art, and we were doing it together. And it was fun. And where she also was getting involved into like how the light should fall on the walls, what angles the light will fall, then the shadow will come appropriately. If her hand is how far from the wall, what will be the size of the shadow. So all those elements of so now here the science is also exposed in a way, but it was never the agenda. So so such things has happened organically. Similarly, when we travel, we decide upon a role. Like say I am into driving, Preeti is into planning, Misty is into deciding on where do we go, or say what do we eat, or where do we stay. So she also has that say in that. So that thing, so we involve her into that. You decide. Does this hotel sound appealing to you to stay overnight? So such exposures come naturally. So it's during in the so it's basically having the discussion as a family, talking while they were going out for a walk. She saw a vegetable vendor, and we made a proposal. Would you like to be with this vegetable vendor for a week? Maybe you could learn something of with the vendor. And since she was comfortable with that vegetable vendor, she said, "Fine, I can be here for a week and learn few things." And that's how she got into that. So for exposure, we don't have to go to a specific activity center or a specific thing. In our surrounding only, if we approach people, we meet people, we interact with them, and something really, you feel, if somebody is really interested, she can pick that up. That's how it's been. Even for her interest of hairstyling, she was there for with a salon for a couple of days. She said, I like doing makeup and I like hairstyling. So why not go to a salon and work there for 2 days rather just be there for 2 days. And then the Salon people very gleefully expect her to be there for a couple of days. So this is unless we come out of our own internal reluctance or even hesitation of not approaching people, this is all very natural. I think I'll end here.
So, Lakshmi, what Pranav shared and is about how we practice open learning in our own lives, right? If you're asking specifically about Aarohi community, the idea of exposure comes from interactions. The connections and collaborations that Ratnesh was mentioning in one of the slides is where we interact with various members in this community. And it's not just on campus, off campus as well. So as Pranav was sharing, what Pranav is doing or what Preeti and Mishti are doing, or what I am doing and Ratnesh is doing, we share whatever we can, whenever we can. And therefore, we are seeding ideas with individuals, whether we are on campus or off campus. And these are the interactions through which we build exposure. And the exploration comes about as people with shared interest come together and say, hey, let's do this together. Or can you tell me how this thing works? And so on and so forth. So it's primarily through interactions in the community.
Okay, I got it.
Other questions, thoughts, anything specific about Aarohi? Also, it's almost past 6 now. So yeah, please, Aishwarya.
Yeah. About the exposure, the organic way of learning. The challenge here is not everybody in the family will be of same philosophy. So in my case also, okay. So that is why I'm into a lot of what to say, unlearning, like how to we can't go and make everyone understand about our philosophy. Okay, so even though if my husband and I am aligned to it, not my baby's grandparents will be aligned to it. Now also the surrounding, the organic learning from where it comes will not be enriched with the kind of philosophy that we are into. So what I am thinking like is there is one way, I have to find a way to impart that like in a different manner. So one way community will help. What are the, but we can't keep like not always can I travel, or also we have to look into the finances for travel. So how to make it appear organic for the child, but we have no other go in this case. Like we have to impart it, like conscious exposure, I would say. I look in that situations. Do you guys have any idea or any suggestions?
Yeah, Aishwarya, I like how much effort you're putting into your question. See, the idea of open learning is not that it has to happen in Aarohi only, right? It's not something that happens in campus only. So it's not that you have to be on campus in order to do open learning. Like Pranav was sharing, Mishti is off campus more than she is on campus. We are all off campus more than on campus, other than Ratnesh, because he's stuck on campus. He lives on campus. But the idea of open learning is not something that is bound to a certain geography or a certain set of resources or a list of things that you need to do, checklist. Do this, then you are an open learner. Nothing like that, right? So that is about doing open learning. Now, the other aspect that you started with about different people thinking differently and trying to convince each other, that's the beauty of life, right? I mean, however much I try, I can't make my 4 fingers this equal. And I'm probably fortunate that I can't make them equal. If they were all equal, then I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things that I want to do. So we have to understand that there are going to be different philosophies, there are going to be different ideologies, there are going to be different people, right, in our lives. And there's a beauty that each of us brings into our, each of these individuals bring into our life. And we have to find ways to communicate and co-create what we want to do, right? So
Yeah, I'm into that.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll put my question in other ways. Now, okay, so see, the philosophy is different. Now, sometimes we will be bound to them, right? The grandparents, for example. I might be more open towards letting her follow whatever she wants to do. At that time, like if there is a situation that she's into a boundary, if she's not able to
Okay,
be as open
if
as
you
she
don't
was, like
mind, can you keep it a little short? Because there are
mm,
others also who might want to ask some things.
yes,
Yeah.
okay, let others go. We'll wait and I'll get back.
Aishwarya, let me give you a very quick analogy. Maybe that will help. Let us say when we want to travel somewhere. Let's say you want to go to Goa. Let's say, yeah. And so one is just how do you go to Goa? In the sense, what do you do at Goa will really depend on who is interested in what. Right? You might be interested in going to the beach. Somebody might be interested to go for a museum. Somebody might want to go to eat something. But not that we will only do one thing, and not that we will only go at one place, but we will all do a lot of different things. And as we do those things, we may get attracted by other things and so on. So it will kind of, kind of evolve by itself, which is exactly how, let's say, an open learning space or a child or a family or a community evolves. There is no one way of it. What happens, so the grandparents may say something that will evolve into something. You may want to do something that may evolve into something. The child may want something and that may evolve into something. And all the possible permutations combination is what is called as life, right? There is no right or wrong in it. There is not that, oh, it should be my way or this way. It's just a travel that we are doing together. Yeah, that's how I look at it. So if you look at from that analogy, you will not possibly put so much pressure on yourself or anybody else or on your child. And you will say, let's enjoy this journey on a day-to-day basis. Things will evolve, opinions will come, choices will come. Grandparents will think one way, somebody else will think one way, neighbor will think one way, I will think one way, and all will get mixed up into what I call as your life and your child's life. So that's what, in one sense, that is how the whole thing evolves. It's so much so that we have called Aarohi as Aarohi, because Aarohi, the word means evolving. So as a community, as a group, as an individual, we are all constantly evolving. There is no one path, there is no one formula, there is no one destination, there's no one success, the theme that we started with.
Yeah, totally get it. Thank you.
There are people who have not really shared or asked. Gokila, you want to share or ask something? Who else? We had Avik joining. I saw him on the video for a little time. Yeah. Anyway, whoever wants to share and ask. Yeah.
I want to share Avik here. Why you want to start open learning?
You are asking us, or you are asking for yourself? Avik, were you asking as in us, as in, let's say, me, why I want to do open
Yes.
learning or why I do open learning?
I'm asking you, Ratnesh.
Why I do open learning? Because that to me is life. I define that as my life. My life is to do what I like doing.
Okay.
So Avik, my answer is very simple, because I'm alive.
Yeah, Gokila, you want to ask or share something?
Yeah, no, like my question was also similar to Aishwarya. Like I'm into now this interested in this and parroting those things, but my husband or whoever, they are not interested in it. So I'm in the process of doing myself. So the same thing, like I just trying to observe my kid. So as of now, I'm in process. So I most of the questions, like whichever I had, most of the people asked. So as of now, I don't.
Yeah, Santosh has actually shared one very good point in the chat about his wife has a different philosophy. Santosh, do you want to come online and share yourself? Please.
Am I audible? Okay, good, good, good. See, I am traveling. Bangalore is 5G plus, but I am traveling through different zones, maybe 3G and 4G and maybe 2G also. So if I excuse me. So all I was saying to Aishwarya and even Gokila, I got your question, even though you don't. See, the thing is, it is true. And I have been through the same story. Okay. My wife has a different philosophy. My elder daughter has a different one. I have a different, my parents have a different one. And my wife's parents have their own thinking. So they think it should be very religious teaching. Okay. So my wife thinks, no, it has to be CBSE syllabus only. My parents, they put me into a military school. So they think that is the way to study. There is no other way to study. Okay. So whatever it is, I mean, there are so many. I mean, I am not saying that I should be, or I should even try, or even if it is desirable, keep my daughter away from these influences. So be it. Okay. So my father wants this, my wife wants this, and we will do a chitrana, a khichdi, a mixture of all this. And whatever the child wants, she will pick it up, and it happens. It's okay. We don't all to have a consensus on, one philosophy. That's what I was, trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the world and how it is today, if there was just one philosophy, just imagine how much more miserable life would have been for everyone. Thankfully, there are all these philosophies, there are all these thoughts, there are all these ideologies, and it's a much more livable space. Otherwise, it would have been very different. Yeah. Thank you, Santosh. Very valuable perspective there.
Just to add to what Santosh is saying, while we even choose a school, we also have so many different boards, CBSE boards, IB board, local, I think state board. So there is so many things to choose from. So what we are just doing here is we are just expanding the whole thing. Okay, जैसे आप board you are choosing amongst many boards as a part of schooling, we are just putting schooling as one option with many other options. So it's just expanding that thing, zooming it out, and looking at it that way, to that level. So and as it said, it's child driven, as what Santosh rightly said. So let the child listen to all the possible conflicts, or understand all the possible arguments, but the decision is left to the child, and if child chooses it that way, well, so be it. So I think that's the answer to it. So child is an answer to everything. It's not we who decide are the answer.
And these questions could very well apply to an adult also, not just a child. So yeah, great. Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts? Please feel free to share. This is the 128th or 129th session. We have had about at least 110, 115 sessions are recorded and available on the Aarohi website. Feel free to browse those. The nature of discussions have been different, and I would encourage you to look at some of the earlier sessions, because there we had families coming and sharing their own journeys. So Aishwarya, Gokila, Lakshmi, you can see some of those, you can hear from and see the families sharing their journey. And that will also give you some idea of how things work, and how do they feel after a few months, years of doing this. You're also welcome to join anytime. I mean, it's not like once you have joined, you're not allowed next time. You're most welcome to join any number of times that you want. And rest assured that we will ask you to contribute in terms of your thoughts, and try to get you to participate in the discussion more the more we see you here on the Saturday meetups. But yeah, Santosh and Tahura, and they're all regulars. I haven't met them personally, but I know them so well from the Saturday meetups now. Yeah, so any other questions or thoughts, please? We have another 10 minutes or so.
So there was a question from Avik, I believe, a child or boy probably, who asked, why do you do open learning? This was meant only for Ratnesh, but I am going to jump in.
Please do. Yeah.
Have time. And Avik, there was an excellent question, and it is very thought provoking. See, I'll tell you my personal thing. Okay, I have been following Aarohi and Ratnesh for the past 4 years. Okay, to be honest with you, I don't agree with everything he says, but I have learned so much from him. If he, just giving an example, if he charges me 1 rupee for everything that I've learned, I would be bankrupt. Understood? So the only reason I do open learning is I'm rich, okay? Honestly, I'm rich, but I don't have so much money that I can pay for everything I can learn and pay for it. Okay, it's just too much. It's too much to learn in this world. So much to learn. Okay. I went to IIT Bombay. I'm a gold medalist. But still, buddy, there is so much more to learn. Viji, in this past 4 months, I have, seen him, heard him. His thoughts are different. Hatke hai bhai. To learn all these things, to go to a school, go to a proper, it's not possible. We had people from Spain, Germany, Italy come here and, give their perspective. This is open learning, This is so much more than what we can do in a conventional setup. And like I said, I went to a conventional setup. I went to a military school, throughout. And then I went to the IITs, yes. But what I'm saying is, what I learned after that is much, 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 much more than what I learned in my whatever, supposedly degreed schooling. So this is why we do open learning. And like Ratnesh put it very well, because I want to live. When you live, what do you want to do? You want to learn, you want to know more things and say, यार मुझे सिर्फ ये पता करना है, ये बताओ मुझे बाकी सब चीजें नहीं चाहिए. So how do I do that? I learned from Ratnesh, I learned from Viji, and I learned from you, Avik. Thank you so much for the question.
You're welcome.
So we have a few more minutes, so we can take maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
We have a new person joining us, Pankaj. Welcome, Pankaj. We were in the doldrums of the end. So you're welcome to jump in and share your thoughts or questions if you had any that brings you to this meetup. Thank you, Aishwarya. You're most welcome. Join whenever you feel like. And like Ratnesh said, check out the website. And yeah. Yes, Pranav,
So
please.
Ratnesh, yeah. Can we just plug in that next week thing if since
Yeah, please,
Santosh,
please.
yeah. So Santosh, you just put it up. Maybe we get people coming from Spain and I don't know which other country you mentioned. But next week is a special Saturday meetup that we are going to have, where we have invited a couple from Spain, and these couple this couple they have shot kind of a documentary, traveled across 17 countries, and talking about education with thinkers, reformists, alternative space, and they have kind of created this lengthy footage. But currently they have got that 15-minute kind of trailer ready, and which they will be screening with us next Saturday. and the name of the title of their film is Killing Curiosity. So that is what it is. So they will be joining us from Mexico next Saturday, same time 5 to 6:30, and screening their trailer, and then we'll be having probably the discussion around it. So you're all welcome to join us again next Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, and we have Pankaj and family here, beaming Pankaj and family. They were here last week at the campus, and we had a great time with them. And they're unschoolers or open learners already for some years or many years. I don't know how many years. I forgot. So yeah, let's hear them share something. We have a few more minutes. Pankaj, you want to just say hi to the whole group?
Hi. Sukun is preparing for the art exhibition tomorrow morning, and she is quite busy in that. So actually Nifty told us that timing is 6:30 and we missed it because I was preparing from 5. So okay, I got late this time.
Yeah.
And I was going through old meetup videos. So I got a really nice time there, and I'm seeing the change in the kids. They are quite responsible now in just 4 days.
4-day magic.
Yeah.
Nifty is designing the day in the morning, and she is telling that I will continue to design my day. And yes, Sukun is getting up at 6:30. She used to get up at 11:30.
Nice.
Okay, super.
Lovely, Pankaj. So you're making them responsible people already, yeah?
Super.
Yeah.
And soon they will make Pankaj also responsible.
I was about to ask, you just stopped at the kids. How about you? I mean, what did you change? What changed in you?
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, thanks everybody for joining. I think we can pause now, and it's great to have all of you today. And we'll continue the discussion every Saturday, including the next Saturday, which is a special one with the movie, and David and Luz joining us, sharing their conversations with people across the globe. So do join us next Saturday for the special edition of with David and Luz. And we continue anyways every Saturday, and great to meet you again, all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
I'll send you the Sukun's exhibitions video.
Super.
Please
Yeah.
do share. Thank you.
Thank you.